listeners.
Oh, whoa, there it is. All right, start over, Rach. Start it over.
Okay.
Go.
Are you going now?
Yeah, just start it up.
All right, you start.
I think
Welcome back to What Have You. I'm Rachel
I'm
Jankovic.
Becca Merkel. We're doing this all different now, guys, because
it's an overseas phone call. Forget
overseas
having coffee in the car together.
via a laptop.
This time we're long distance.
I'm actually having a glass of wine now that we come right down to it, because I'm 8 hours different than you. You know.
Yeah, and I'm still drinking coffee.
Yeah, it's not time for coffee.
I'm looking to get something done today.
It's bedtime here, and I'm, trying to struggle through a coherent thought. Yeah, so we're doing this transatlantically with me in Oxford, you there. Both of us displaced, because you're not where you're supposed to be.
No, I'm where I'm supposed to be, just not where I normally am. Not exactly like out of line here in the neighbor's house or something, but we have relocated to Mom and Dad's house while Mom and Dad relocated to Grandpa's house.
And we've been radically out of touch because we only have one cell phone that works, and so that's the one that half the time we're using to navigate our way around England, so I can't use it to call. And then when we get home late at night, it's not, it's like we're exhausted, or then we get up in the morning and I can't call because you're asleep. And so we've been very incommunicado for the past couple of weeks. So you should fill me in on what you're doing. You're at Mom and Dad's house. Are you moved?
Mostly we're dealing with everything being different, like it's summer, so you know how that makes everyone need to eat every 30 seconds. The kids are like, what's for snacks? What's for lunch? What are we having? I feel like because we're in a new place, I'm in a completely no rhythm of life yet. So, we're still settling in and stuff. So it's just added a funny layer to, like, I go to the yesterday I went to the grocery store to grab stuff for lunch right before having to pick some people up from basketball. And I didn't have enough time to do anything other than just grab something for lunch, so we grabbed that, went home, had lunch, but I had to go back and get stuff for dinner.
Yeah.
Which really is, when you're taking things too far, is when you're having to go to the store before every meal.
I feel like I'm living that dream.
And then your children escalate this by making the average day 7 meals. By being like, but where's the next food? What are you thinking for that? Like, I have no thoughts. I do not think about food. And they don't go with, how your kids just don't follow your lead on that. Nobody goes for it when you're like, let's not think about food.
Why
don't we skip it?
Eat.
Why don't we just? Yeah. Well, why don't we just not, guys?
Well, okay.
Let's just stop.
I've felt like, because we're over here in England and trying to see all the old sites and visit all the old places and all of this stuff, and I think I've been feeling this sort of weird insult that is our finitude, because you get up,
thing,
it's
isn't
like,
it?
We've got to go to the British Museum. We're gonna do it.
Word.
We've got 4,000 years of history that's all been compiled into this one incredibly huge building, and we're going to go do it, and it's going to be amazing. And you're fueled up. You've had your coffee.
No, I exactly know this feeling that you're going to talk about.
You've had your food, your coffee. You're energized. You've slept all night. You're ready to go. And by 11:30, you're like, I don't care about anything. I just want to eat something. And it's like, how is it that's something that you actually really do care about? You get overwhelmed by the need for coffee, or the need to sit down, or the need to take a nap.
It's not even, it's like you can just max out the inputs of your brain, because I had this exact same moment at the Met, you're walking through and you're like, what? Yes, I should totally go look at the history of textiles, ancient Egyptian things. It's like, and you walk in there and then you're just like, please, somebody make anything matter to me. Like, I can't care about this. And
Well, see, I feel like
you try to like, how can I put on a rally cap in the museum?
no, but see, the thing is, like, I actually could until you get hungry and tired and you want to sit down, and then you're like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
but
I
that's
just
what
want
I
to
mean. Is
nap.
I remember your like legs aching, or just like,
Yeah.
are you kidding?
And you're like,
why
let
am
me
I
go
looking
find a
at this
ledge to
plaque?
sit on.
Like, I feel like I specifically remember looking at a plaque at something that was like from the 1100s, and
Yeah.
just being like, but so totally irrelevant to me right now. Like, so not what I need.
Is a sandwich. If only I had a sandwich,
that's
I
all
could care again.
Yeah, and you feel like in some ways you need like a big change of subject. Like you need to like eat and get in a really cold pool, jump in a lake,
because I
get
don't
back
even
out,
mean like,
and then you'd be like, yes, okay,
but
ready
like
to look at this
sometimes
again.
you've got too many inputs. It's like you're kind of like
Yeah.
overstimulated. And it's not even that, because I'm not even talking about that, but it's mostly like it's the insult of having
Overly aware of your own incompetence.
Yeah, but like you need to sleep. It's like the need to sleep or the need to eat or the need to whatever it is. Like I can't care anymore until we find a bathroom. I can't even care about the Cyrus cylinder. It's just it's
That
really
is so true.
And it's like there's these things that are actually really important that you actually really love and you're really interested in, and you would spend a good deal of money and time planning to go look at it. But if it turns out that you're like itchy at the
all it takes is one good rash to separate you from the history of mankind at the museum.
It's like at one time I cared, but I can't because I've got chapped lips.
The displays at museums that give me the fat face emoticon, the fat flat face.
Okay, what?
I couldn't care less. Is all the reliquaries.
Okay,
so
like what?
Bizarro and ugly and weird.
What are we talking about?
Here's the golden hand that there's some skeleton hand inside the golden hand that had allegedly the hand of some saint that was going to heal everyone. Those I have a real hard time caring about at all.
Yeah, I don't think I could drum up the real enthusiasm. But we were at the British Museum, like seriously, you can't even. It's like you need a month and you'd need like to bring your books with you and just sit down and just spend a few days in one room with some books, kind of just reading up on some things, But we're kind of like huffing around through it, like everyone, yep, Persia, we're not slowing down. We're just yep, Queen Esther, doesn't matter. We're going right through it. And we're trying to get over here to the Sutton Hoo display. Anyway, it's because it's just really, really, really massive. But it was fun going through. The Assyrian one especially is like totally crazy. We spent some time in there, but even that was a flyby. But it was great because Judah is like hopping along being like, oh, hey, it's the Black Obelisk. I know all about this. This is Jehu paying homage and over here, Nabopolassar III.
When did Judah get all up on the Assyrians?
Yeah, it's like he was up on all of the Sennacherib news. And so
is that from Bible class?
From ancient history. He just finished ancient history.
Got it.
So he was all kinds of informative, and it actually was really fun because he was recognizing all of it, and well, not all of it, obviously. He was recognizing bits of it and was excited to see it, and so that was quite awesome. And there were a few highlights that we had to take the kids back to have a little look at the section and stuff. We did that, but it was very hilariously like, yeah, we're not big enough to cope with it.
I know. I know those moments of our finitude are difficult. And like the moments where you want to know what I just encountered because we moved. So a long time ago, I just think these are the funniest moments. So there was like a dress that I had in high school sometime that was like a nicer it was like a nice dress.
Sure.
It was a special occasion dress. And
Yeah.
for some reason, it ended up as something that I saved. Do you know what I mean? Like, it probably didn't need to be saved, but I quit wearing it, but it was nice.
Yeah.
And I saved it. And at some point, it made it into the bin of things that you, like, save for your kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, that'll be fun sometime. But then today I had the time where we pull out this dress that I wore in high school. And I have a daughter going into high school. And it's like, the last thing she wants in this world is that dress that I wore in high school. And I'm looking at it like, why? Why have I had this all these years to now have this moment with my daughter where she's like, no thanks.
Well, I think it's because high school in a lot of ways doesn't seem like that long ago. Like when you hold on to it.
It was a hot minute ago.
But if it was like if mom had pulled out something from high school, to us that would have felt like ages ago, so long since.
But that's the thing, is that I think my memories of mom having some things from high school is why I kept something from that. You know what I mean?
Probably.
But we never wore the stuff that mom had from high school either.
I did. Remember that black velvet dress?
But then it was really tickling me that, like, how did life already go by so fast that we had that moment?
No, I wore that black dress of mom's that had the embroidered waistband with the crewel embroidery.
Yeah, that one was really pretty. I was thinking more of those weird crochet ones. We never wore those.
No, we didn't. We passed those by.
We should get those out for our girls and see if they want to wear them.
If they skip a generation, maybe that'll work.
Anyways, it was mostly odd to me in the sense of you were talking about our finitude, but also just our mortality and the speed. The speed that life is passing us by while we don't get smarter or more capable.
It does give you that feeling that it's a flash and I'm not making the most of it.
No, I am not making the progress I need to be making.
Well, okay, so Ben and I were just talking about this because, so we're still in Oxford, and today we went into this exhibit that we kept walking past and not going in. And it's part of the Bodleian Library. They've put like a new wing up since we lived here, and they have this massive Tolkien exhibit. So we went in, and it was just so striking because they had all of his artwork, not all of it probably, but a whole bunch of his artwork up, and like letters and just a bunch of things that, it's not like they've been published or anything. And it was like he was so productive. That was the thing that was just so shocking, is it's like he's a professor at Oxford, so like he's already doing that, but he's also like he's painting and he's creating and he's writing, and he's even like there was this one wall that I really loved because they had he was really into crossword puzzles because, he's a philologist, right? And so and I guess there's a collection that they have, and he doesn't have a single unsolved crossword puzzle in all of the collection. Like everyone is completely filled out. But he would doodle on the newspapers. And so they had just all of these pages of newspapers that Tolkien had just drawn all over with all of these colored pens and things. So I think it was like while he was working on crossword puzzles, and it's like these big elaborate doodles that he then worked into the Silmarillion as like, I don't know, some kind of like ceramic patterns from the elves from some, I don't know what, but it was actually just, it was sort of like, it was just oozing out everywhere. You know what I mean? Like he was just being productive and creative, and it was so striking, like what a lasting impact his work had. Like it was so,
right.
And all the lovely little drawings he did for his kids, and those letters from Father Christmas, and original dust jackets from the books, and that he, the artwork that he drew and stuff. But it was like, this is a guy who is creating more than he is consuming. Like he is just being productive. Like it was a really fun and kind of inspiring exhibit. and weirdly tragic too. Like it had like a picture of his freshman class here at Oxford at Exeter College, and then they had the same picture, but just everybody
uh,
blacked out except all the boys who died in the First World War. Like so many. And so it was like his freshman year. It was like a picture from 1911, and he said by 1918 all but one of his close friends were dead. It was like just, you know, decimated the
so sad.
class. I know. Anyway, but it was a really lovely exhibit, and just kind of a, I don't know. It was like, this is a man who was making the most of all of his moments, kind of, you know?
Mhm.
It was just,
Yeah.
it was very cool. But we passed by the feminist exhibit and I didn't go in. I didn't. I stayed
You
out
didn't
of
feel
it.
any tugging at your
Well,
heartstrings.
I would have. It's just, I actually would have been really interested because they had a whole thing on, well, it was a bunch of stuff about the suffragettes, and it was Mary Wollstonecraft. I guess they had a bunch of stuff at first, which I would have been quite interested to see, but we had somewhere to go, and I wasn't
Yeah.
that inspired, you know.
There's only so much life
There's
to live.
only, yeah, and I was starting to get, you know, hungry and itchy and need a nap, and
Couldn't take it anymore.
but it's like you wish you could just keep going, like you wish you could just
Oh yeah, no,
get
totally.
through so much more, but it's just like my feet hurt. Gotta sit down.
Yeah, it's amazing.
uh,
Mortality.
Mortality, indeed. Time, food,
Time. I always
physicality.
think, I've probably said this before, I always think that with like your kids' baby stuff, or that like that realization that you probably can't, you're not remembering things that you really loved.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like you're not treasuring or remembering. You forgot the way that one of your children said something so sweet all the time, or you know what I mean? Like you just
Yeah.
forgot. You couldn't keep it.
Yep.
You just aren't big enough to remember these
No.
things.
No, but it does feel like, I mean, I know it's so cliche to be like, time really is like a river. It's like you're floating down the river and you go around a bend, and no matter how much
And you just can't do anything about that.
No, and you might have really enjoyed that last stretch, or it might have been really terrible, but when you get around the corner, it fades out, you know?
It's like, did that happen? Yeah. And I I often think, it doesn't do us any good to be sad about what is
No,
behind us. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
ruins the
and the
place
fact
you
that
currently are.
we can't remember it all. We can't treasure it all.
No.
And
No.
we can't. Like,
No.
we loved them then and we love them now, and we cannot camp out around roadsides. You know what I mean? Like here we were,
No.
where Daphne said that thing that was so funny. Like, let's stay here forever.
I do think we have a tendency to spend all of our time either looking forward or looking back, and really not. I think the kind of the essence of the command to be content is,
To
like,
be now.
to be now and to be thankful for now, and to not be not to be like stressing about getting to the next moment, and not being grumpy that you couldn't stay in the last moment,
Right,
but just
totally.
being actually grateful for this. And I think it's always tempting to, like, you can either do it in a hopeful way or in a morose kind of way. Like, I feel like that's what worry is worry is looking forward and panicking about it, or being like grumpy because you're regretting things in the past. Like, you can do it like that, or you can look back with nostalgia on the past and with hope for the future, but it still is kind of like, if you're living in either one of those places, then you're not actually being grateful and thankful and content with this moment. And it's funny how often this moment is the one that you're going to be looking back on again in a second.
No, like,
Wishing you
always,
could get
you're
back to.
always in that moment. I always think that when I look at my kids now, is that, like, in another year, the pictures from today, they'll seem like little kids. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to just notice the difference between now and the old pictures, and not notice how right now is really fleeting too.
Yeah.
You know, like this is the moment to be grateful. This is the moment to enjoy and to love them and to not be,
Right.
you know, it's just, we're being really depressing today on the podcast.
Are we? I don't know. I feel
I think
like
we're being a little down
we're-
and out here
I think
about
we're
our
being
inability to
uplifting.
feed our families to look at museums.
Mortality rate.
We're like, furthermore, your children are getting old.
Mortality.
Your children are old and you still have problems with itchiness and you can't pay attention.
Such is life.
Oh, but Tolkien, he knew how to live.
Except for the World War I bit. Yeah, you're right. We've kind of gotten a little...
We even brought in World War I. And the great loss of life.
And now we're getting the giggles.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
International loss of podcasting ability. We've got to get a grip back.
Oh, dear.
Wow. So let's talk about something a little
How about that recipe? Oh, my word. Oh, speaking of recipes, though.
Listeners, we're renaming the podcast the Debbie Downers.
I'm sure you could rummage out something really encouraging from what we said. No. But in order to change the subject to happier things.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, food. Speaking of mortality and physicality, and I'm getting too fat because I'm eating all the clotted cream.
I've been making cultured butter at home.
Oh, dang. That sounds really
for just
fun.
Tidbits of interesting things
because
to
that's
do.
the thing about English butter over here. Like, I've been really reliving the dream of English butter because it's cultured butter and it's fabulous and I love it. But, no, it is really, there's all these things that, like, we can't get at home. And so we keep on buying. I'm not joking you, Rach. It's not going to be funny when I get back. You're going to be like, Becca, let's buy you a corset and then let's put you on a strict regime.
Due to the clotted cream
the clotted cream overdose. But, you know, it's like we've only got a moment left with the clotted cream, so we're going to have to... we're going to have to do it
You're going to make that moment linger for as long as possible.
Yeah. It will travel with me for a while.
You'll be like, that was such great memories we had.
It's like my time capsule.
We are so uncertified to be recording ourselves right now.
It's not funny. It is funny, but you know.
Yeah, for so bad and funny.
For the rest of the summer, I'm gonna really. This is how you can make a moment last is by eating it.
Really treasure the moments.
Sustain it as long as possible. Oh my word! No,
hurts. You're hurting me.
But the clotted cream is definitely a highlight. But the other thing, and this brings up a long-standing issue I've been having, is that here in England they have this drink that is just different and interesting, and it's elderflower. And it's like a fizzy drink that's like clear, and it's not alcoholic. It's just like a, fizzy drink, but it's made from elder flowers, not from elderberries, right? So you brew it from the flowers.
Yeah.
And they grow wild all over the place in England, like in all the hedgerows. And so I know that people like pick elderflowers, like it's an old tradition. I think it goes back, like 100 years or something, where they would, like, families on vacation to earn money would pick the elderflowers and turn them in to make the drinks. Anyway, we have elderberries that grow wild in Idaho all over the place. And so I have had this thing for years of wanting to plant some in our yard so that I could try making elderflower. But I actually don't know if it's the same variety that we have. And I've always been a little nervous that I might brew up a sort of Borgia poison of some sort and kill off, a lot of people that way. And
neighborhood social at the Merkles.
And so I'm just not, real positive about the toxicity of various kinds of elderflower whatevers. But anyway, I did try to plant one in my yard, and I talked to the lady at the nursery, and she told me that they don't really work very well in pots, but you could go out and dig one up on the mountain. And she said, she told me what they look like, and she said, you have to do it while they're dormant. So, of course, then it's just a sticky bush up there. It doesn't have any leaves for you to see what it is.
Good luck to you locating that.
Right. So she's describing to me what to look for, and then she says, just dig up a little shoot, next to it, and then plant that, and it'll do fine. So I did try. I did that. And what came up in the spring was nothing like an elderflower.
You transplanted something else.
I got some sort of a shrub from the mountainside, but it wasn't an elderflower. And so that one went. I got rid of that one. And then so I look at elderflowers, or elderberries, and I'm always like, I really should plant a few of these. But then I don't know. And the only reason I want them is for the elderflower. And so I don't know, but we've been drinking a lot of that while we've been here, just to kind of, while we can, make hay while the sun shines, and drink the elderflower and eat the clotted cream. But,
right.
Yeah, it's, and then I'm back to my problem of, I don't remember what I cooked in this country. I go to the grocery store and I have a complete...
I don't, Becca, if it comforts you, I don't remember what I cooked in this country either.
Well, I'll tell you that I invented something the other night. Most of the time when you sort of invent something, you're kind of riffing off of something else that you make or whatever.
Right.
This one, straight up, I just rummaged it out of the grocery store produce section without any kind of inspiration at all, other than I think I'll put those things together. And it turned out to be stupidly good, and I was very proud of myself. But it will never be duplicatable, because I'm going to go home, and the problem is there's these little, new potatoes that they have here, and we don't have the same kind, and I don't know why, and I don't know what they're called, and I don't know what the matter is, but they're not the same, and they're, so good, just even without anything else, just as a standalone object, they're really good. Anyway.
Why don't we have them here? Are you sure we don't? Because I think we do. I think we just have them that you have to pay too much money for them at Rosar's.
No, because I buy new potatoes occasionally when I'm feeling really lavish.
Yeah, but there's the smallest of the small potatoes at Rosar's.
Yeah, no, these aren't those. They're medium-sized new potatoes, but they are so creamy. The actual flesh of the potato is really melty. It's so good. And
you're getting a little Idaho on it, even from England.
I know. Why? We're from the potato state. Why are we failing at having anything but a russet?
I'll tell you why. Because our state is manfully shouldering the burden of McDonald's French fries and not doing artisanal potatoes.
No, we're not doing artisanal potatoes. And these are cheapo potatoes. They're not artisanal. They're just cheap potatoes. But
they would be artisanal if they were here.
Yeah, they would. And so I've been pondering, can I smuggle them home in my socks and plant them in the garden? Probably not. I think I'll get busted for bringing produce through the borders.
Mm-hmm.
So
tubers in your socks.
Tubers in my socks. I know. Maybe I could string them like it was a necklace. Maybe I could try and pass that on. Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Worser and worser.
Chunky jewelry is what I'm wearing right now.
Get yourself a pair of tights in England. And then not a potato.
I like how you think.
You
I
need
might
to
be
do
able to
it
do
now.
it. I might be able to, like,
Just be like, yeah.
kind of a
I
large
totally.
rope.
Wasn't
Like,
there like a moment where even Martha Stewart was suggesting we knot things inside of tights for jewelry?
not that I recall.
I think there was.
What is it for?
I think there was a time of where people were suggesting that we tie wood beads inside of tights to make jewelry.
Wow, what do you do with the waistband?
Well, I think you cut that off.
Maybe you could put it on your head and sort of then trail the rest of it around.
I'm pretty sure. You know how Martha Stewart crafts are, is that they can make anything look reasonable with good lighting and photo shoot and everything. Like, you're like, that's lovely, but you're like, yeah, if I saw someone wearing that, I would never think they were wearing wood beads inside of tights. But if you made it yourself,
you would definitely
would not feel adorned. You would look at that and you would be like, why do I have this on my person?
I think you would definitely notice the tights, like, motif.
Yeah, no, there'd be no escaping it. You know, like you couldn't not see it once you did it yourself.
I'm just surprised about the knot, because that would be a large knot. Like, I think you could get into it with maybe rubber bands, perhaps.
I wonder if they threaded it. Maybe they alternated it over a bead and under a bead, through a bead.
I like that we're speculating about this.
Yeah, it's a good question. Why are we? We're speculating about something that I think may have been at one time a Martha Stewart craft.
How might she have done it if it was
possible?
Yeah.
Otherwise, could have been I dreamed that craft. Could have been that was my own big idea.
Could have been your own project you did once.
I don't think so, though. I don't think I thought of that myself.
So I bought Rach at a charity sale, which we used to always go to with the kids, and I know
and you
told
took your
about
best
all
Christmas
the time.
picture.
Oh
there.
yeah, we did. We put that one out there on the interwebs. It's really embarrassing, but anyway, it's this amazing old manor in this little village called Nettlebed, and it's where Ian Fleming lived, who wrote James Bond, you know, and so
what among many things you care very deeply about?
I always treasure anything James Bond. No, so anyhow, we go down there, and it's owned by this charity now, and they have these ridiculous rummage sales every 3 weeks, where it's just like a total rummage sale, but it's on the grounds of this manor. And actually, it was very handy when we lived here, because we were trying to furnish a house with no money, and so they occasionally have really beautiful things there, amidst a lot of junk. But my big sort of thing that I need to do is get curtains in my downstairs. And I have designed the fabric that I know I want to order and turn it into curtains. But I had already been Googling these curtain rings that they have everywhere in England, and I knew I could get them for cheap in England, but I knew I couldn't get them for cheap at home. And so I had already been looking sort of at Amazon UK, like maybe I should get them delivered while I'm here. We go to Nettlebed, and I bought a big tub of these curtain rings for £3. No,
yeah, I saw you holding them very
£2,
smugly.
£3. Yeah, and it was just because the man got really bored of me trying to fish around and pick out ones that matched and count them. And so he just handed me the whole tub and told me to give him another pound, and I could just leave with it. So I did. So I've got that, and it reminded me of your beads and potatoes strung together. Like, I'm going to have to figure out how to
You can wear those as earrings
all
just
of
to kind of
these-
round out your look.
Yeah, all of
here.
these home. Like, I might be having to adorn myself with these, because I don't think they're going to fit in my suitcase. Because we're doing only carry-ons, which is very reckless. And,
oh, wow,
yeah, I don't know how that's going to go.
So I saw your comment in the Bible reading or somewhere that you launched from England.
I have launched all over the town here in England. I have been reading it. I was sitting outside the dressing rooms while my girls were trying on clothes, and I was reading then. I'm totally caught up, except for I have to do today still. Today's been hectic, but no, it's been great. I actually, what I really loved was reading John first, because I feel like most of the time you hit John last because you go Matthew, Mark, Luke, John.
Yeah.
And by that point, all the Gospels are sort of blurring together for you. It kept being striking to me how different John is from the other three.
Yeah, I actually thought the same thing. And one thing that was funny that Lena commented, and then I kept meaning to go back, is that she said, she was like, I thought it was interesting that John didn't mention the ascension. And I was like,
Well, he did mention it, but he didn't record the incident.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't mean that he doesn't think it happened, because he was clearly.
But I mean,
I just meant.
You know what I noticed about it, and I actually really want to go back and actually pay attention to this, which I'm sure everyone in the world has noticed, except for I, happened upon it this time.
Yeah.
How many times over and over and over Jesus says, I am the something. So he even has just the before Abraham was I am. But then he keeps on saying, like, I am the bread, I am the life, I am the way, I am the, and it
the truth.
Yeah, but it just keeps on, like, through the whole book. And I felt like there was just such an emphasis on that I was like, I kind of want to go back and like actually just look for those bits, because it seemed like it was just a real kind of like theme that kept coming through, is all the things that Jesus said, I am this. And
right.
And it seemed like too, like didn't it seem like there's more of an emphasis on Jesus's actual words more than the events, kind of?
Yeah, Luke and I were having a really interesting discussion about this, because he's doing the same reading in the men's group, and there was some discussion in the men's group. So we were talking about that, so we were talking about the, how the disciples are like, they keep thinking, now you're speaking plainly. And he's, and he's like, not yet. Like he says, I'm speaking figuratively, and they're like not understanding what's going to happen. And they don't understand it because they don't have the Spirit yet. You know what I mean? Like they love Jesus, but they're not understanding what he's saying, and he's saying a little while longer and it will be it'll be clear kind of to them.
Right.
And, but the thing that I was saying that gets very meta about the whole book is that you have John is recording everything that Jesus said to them before they understood it. Like it must be after he understood it. Obviously, it must be later that he recorded the account, but how he remembers the Lord's words to them through all the time that they did not understand what was happening.
Yeah.
And the meta-ness sort of John telling us about their not understanding because the time was not yet and they did not have the Spirit yet. You know what I mean? Like where he keeps, but the clarity of the Lord's teaching is still totally there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and that he wouldn't have understood it at the time.
Yeah, it's interesting.
At the time that he heard it. I mean, not, I think that they understood it, but not, you know what I mean? Not to the extent that, that they will, because they don't. It was an interesting, I don't know, but a while ago, I had decided, I was like, I really do not, I know the stories in the Gospels, and I know, but I was realizing that I was, just another one of these things where you notice how much you haven't done yet in your life.
Right.
I was noticing that I really don't, naturally, I don't hear different voices in the Gospels automatically. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can remember learning some of I just was noticing that I didn't have that great of a perspective on the differences between the Gospels, kind of, like I just didn't, I knew that they were there, and I've studied them, but forgotten. Do you know what I mean? Like where you study, and at one point, I'm sure I could pass a test on it. I just haven't gone on remembering
Sure.
about it. And but one thing I started doing was just listening to a whole gospel on audio one day. You know, like today I'm just going to listen to Matthew.
Sure.
Or listen to Mark or whatever. And that was really the first time when I did that, where I would listen to a gospel a day. That was, it makes you feel, it's exactly like what we were talking about earlier with the museum thing, but it totally makes you feel like there is no bottom to this.
Sure.
But at the same time, I was hearing them differently.
Yeah.
You know, you're more like, there's a
Yeah.
lot more to know about them than I knew.
It's like we were just at George Grant's church a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how in the book of Mark uses the word immediately, like
oh yeah, he's always over. He's all about immediacy.
Yeah,
kind of.
where it's just like, and immediately this happened, and immediately that happened, and you know, like, yeah, there's definitely differences. And John, it just seems like, yeah, he's emphasizing different things. He's wanting the reader to come away with different things.
But he seems, they all obviously love Jesus, you know, like, so I'm not trying to separate it out in any way. But it is true that John comes off as a more personal, well, like you said, so much emphasis on who Jesus is, like who, it just is it's just different.
Yeah.
It's good. One thing that we talked about with, I don't know if the episode with Mom went up, but one thing I was telling Mom is that I realized that I am a reader, and I used to be more into lit and things even than I am now. And because of that, I think the biggest temptation in Bible reading for me was like back, you know, like the one that I have to lean against in myself is the desire to be frustrated when I realize I can't master the text.
Oh, sure.
Like you can't, and that there's no way you could. Like, if you memorized one book of the Bible and you had no other Bible ever for, you know, access to it ever, you could still, like, you could go over it and know every word in it and still not get to the bottom of it. Yeah. Like, it's still not plumb the depth of it, you know, whereas with any human work, obviously, you can, you know, you can have accomplished a good study on it and be at the end kind of like, we know that now, you know, and with God's word, it's totally different. Like, it's a different thing to come to the text wanting it to master you and change you rather than you come add anything to it. Yeah. You know, like, this is, anyways. But I've been loving it. So many people in the challenge. It's been really fun. I think our new slogan that we're going to have to do something with our new slogan of diverse theologically, literally on the same page.
No, that's cool.
Because it's what we are. Literally reading the same page. Yeah. Otherwise, probably not on the same page.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah. Very cool. So, well, I can't even see the time. Have we gone on?
Probably. Do you have a
You ready
tip?
to give a tip?
Yeah, you have a tip. Start with your tip. What do you got?
Oh, in the moving chaos. I did have a tip about moving.
All right, about moving.
Actually, about moving, but really you could use it in other applications. So long as you are the kind of person who might need to use garbage bags in your life for non-garbage applications. So, when we were moving, I bought a big thing at Costco of the clear garbage bags. Okay. Let me just tell you, clear garbage bags are where it's at for the random needs because you don't have to tear them open. They don't look like garbage. You can tell, there's a bag full of shoes, you know, like that's clearly not garbage. Right. And it makes it I felt so, every year, this year is just worse because we moved, but every year I throw I just pull all the school uniforms out of circulation, and then at some point I try to go through them all and discard and
Yeah.
what's worth saving for
Yeah.
the next year or a different
I
person or
have terrible
whatever.
success with this.
But throwing all of that in a garbage bag would have been a dangerous move
Yeah.
at any time.
Well, that's
because
I'll tell you.
then it will just get thrown away.
Well, or it stays there, but you don't ever remember that you have it, or if you did, you don't know where you put it. So then,
or you go back to a section of garbage bags and have to tear them all open, wondering.
And then by the time you get back to that and you find it, you've outgrown it by 2
garbage
years, and it is awful. And yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, having clear garbage bags. Because another thing that I do sometimes, if you have to go clean out the car or something where you have, whenever you have an oddball assortment of things, there might be some socks and some books and some, just all kinds of things. I have found the clear garbage bag to be something that I should have been using in my life before now.
That's a good idea. I have a bunch of clear garbage bags because I accidentally bought them one time at Costco.
Well, either you can start using them or you can sell them to me for my clear garbage bag needs.
Well, they're small. They were too small for me, which is why it's just a random box. And I have found them to be handy for things, but I don't use them on a real,
Well, it was a really good thing for moving because we did stuff like bag up someone's bedding in a clear garbage bag, but you can tell whose it is from afar and say,
and it's so
take
much
this
better
with
than
you
a
to your room
cardboard
and put it on your bed. That was good.
No, that's a good tip.
Yeah, what's your tip?
A good one. Well, I don't know. My tip in general for America is figure out clotted cream. Why can't we? What's the problem?
Do or don't. We have trouble enough as it is. Our listeners are going to be like,
valid.
The obesity epidemic in America, the last thing we need is also clotted cream. No, I'm joking.
Well, the whole dairy section in England is a real, it's so
superior
good.
event.
It's so good. And I don't know why, because we have cows, so what's the problem? I don't know. It's like...
I actually think, I don't know. I can't tell you why, except for that I think that I've been to dairies here where it's exceptional dairy products. So,
No, it's not that, because I know we have great dairy products. We can have some really beautiful ones. I'm just saying that I don't know what we're doing to it, because, double cream here, why don't we have, what are they doing to the cream to make it double cream here?
What is double cream?
Well, so this is one of these times that I misunderstood England initially, because I was trying to make whipped cream for something the first time we were here, and I bought a thing of cream. It was really thick, lovely cream. I whip and I whip and whip and whip and whip and whip, and it won't whip. And I'm just like, what's wrong with this country? You can't even whip the cream. It just nothing. It just stayed entirely liquid. So I think I probably told you a lot of malicious things about England, because I was probably decanting my sorrows to you, you can't even whip a cream in this country.
I don't remember.
It was a long time ago. This was in 2003. Anyway, then later I noticed at the store that the one I had purchased was single cream. But it's the consistency of our whipping cream. It's a thick cream, but it will not whip. But then you buy double cream, which is really thick, and you basically have to stick a fork in it, and it whipped. I mean, it's and there it is. And then, but it's really thick and really beautiful. And then they also have a separate one that's whipping cream. I don't know what the difference is between that and double cream. But
so here they have. Hello again.
Well,
welcome back to What Have You.
I don't know what happened, but it dropped you, and it went right back to FaceTime, and it cut to the most horrible, unflattering picture of myself here, looking at myself, speaking of double cream.
So
we lost
Did
you.
you?
We
I was
lost you
trying
at
to
like
say here we have different percentages of fat in cream.
right, and I have gotten like the Costco cream has a
Yeah, it's
really high
40
percentage.
40%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is not the same as double cream. So I don't know what the difference is. I'm just saying that like we have cows, they have cows, but somehow what comes out of the the dairy processing, there's just
Yeah.
differences.
Huh.
I don't know what,
I
why.
wonder because so when I've been making cultured butter,
Yeah.
so when you culture the whipping cream overnight, like whatever,
Yeah.
seed it with a good bacteria and then culture it overnight.
Yeah.
Well, then I churn it, but I do it in my food processor. But then
Yeah.
you get until you get the butter solids, and you pull those out. But when you strain it, the buttermilk that comes out from that, so you removed all the fat,
Right.
right?
Right.
But the buttermilk that comes out from that is incredibly like thick and creamy looking, beautiful
Okay.
buttermilk.
Okay.
But if you don't culture it,
Then it's watery.
that would be watery. Like that would
Right.
be a really more
Right.
watery
Yeah.
thing. So I kind of wonder if it's something like that.
Yeah,
Like if
I
you're
don't
dealing
know.
with a cream that
But
has
the other thing that they do, and like this is what made me notice, is on the side of the carton it'll say pouring or whipping or whatever, and I was like, pouring, like, yeah, and I noticed that single cream, when I looked at it in the store, that little box was not ticked, like whipping was not ticked, and then I noticed like, oh wait, over here this one says it will whip. But I was like, pouring, like what do you need to pour your cream about? Like, why is the box ticked for pouring it? But there are
is it for do you think that I'm finding answers on the internet. I was going to say, do you think pouring is for tea? Do they put
no,
whipping cream?
it's actually they just pour cream over some desserts. So
right. Okay,
so
yeah.
we just
I'm looking. It says double cream is the British term for heavy or whipping cream in the United States, but it's thicker than our whipping cream because it's 48% butterfat.
There you go. So it is thicker. It's just amazing.
It is so rich, in fact, that it is easy to over whip it and get it too thick.
Yeah, it's like, that's what I'm saying. You stick a fork in it and like, bloop, there it is. It's just, but like,
it was ready to go.
We just
ready
had
to be whipped.
Lunch with some old friends down in Salisbury, and Rachel made like an amazing selection of desserts. But she had just a jug of double cream that you just pour over like the chocolate dessert or whatever, and it's really lovely. Like, it's really good, but we would just never think of slopping some liquid cream over the top, and it would be super weird if we did, because it's not double cream. Like, it's just, anyway.
We would have more like a little milk bath going on rather than
like,
a thick,
yeah,
creamy,
did you want to do your dessert kind of like
sense.
a breakfast cereal where you're going to pour some milk over it and just kind of,
sploosh. Whoops, there you go. That's funny.
Yeah, anyway.
All right, well, is that your tip? Your tip was to eat dairy goods in England.
Really fatty ones.
But just the fatty dairy goods of England.
Pour them over everything else that you're eating already, and then.
Well, I will be glad when you get back.
So
and then
will I,
when you get back, and when we all end up being back where we belong.
I know, and my house, I just shudder to think. It's like we came home from Jemima's graduation, dumped off all the stuff from her graduation table, like, on the table, and then we left the country for 3 weeks, so it'll be great.
Luckily,
when I
her table was not that laden with stuff.
It wasn't laden, but I think we also forgot to take out the garbage. So
no, wow, that's brutal.
It is brutal. It's gonna be not good. But I'm ready. I'm ready to get out all my clear garbage bags and put all my things in them and throw them away. So
okay.
When I get home, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right. Well,
now that we've figured out the
time.
technology here, I think we can probably do this again. I think it'll work great.
So next time you call, I might be on the road to Chicago.
Don't do that, though. That'll be a pain.
Yeah, but we're driving to Chicago.
Oh, you're
soon.
driving?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, we're not in touch much.
No, we're not in touch much. Actually, no, we're not in touch at all. All right. Well.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk again.
Time. Okay. Bye.
All right. Goodbye.